What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, share the video, and make sure you leave a comment. If you haven't already grabbed the book, Blood on the Razor Wire, grab my book. You can get it on freedomfighterspc@gmail.com. They also sell it on Amazon, but if you get it from us directly, it definitely supports the channel. So today we're going to talk about USP Coleman. We're going to talk about the shoe. We're going to talk about a cop that pretty much paid someone else to kill another dude that she didn't like. And she becomes the only federal cop, federal correctional officer, right, to ever be sentenced to life in prison. And she's a chick. She was 33 years old. And her whole life was over with after she made, a fateful decision. A decision that I'm sure she regrets. And we're going to talk about how nasty the cops treat you and what the shoe is really like. But I want to read a little bit out of my book, chapter 36, so you can get a better understanding of what goes on in these prisons, at least in the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And then we're going to talk about Aryan Sharma. We're going to talk about her husband. He was a lieutenant at the prison. And some of you might know that USP Coleman is the biggest federal prison in the country. Actually spent, some time there as a prisoner. But let's get into the book. It's only a couple pages. And then we're going to talk about Aryan. We'll talk about the shoe. In the special housing unit, days drag on. This housing unit is nothing more than a gloomy warehouse, storing live bodies before packing the eventual shipment to a new prison. Anguish and loneliness have set in for both Pike and I. The shoe has a way of fundamentally dehumanizing a person, leaving them broken. The unit resembles a massive concrete bunker. The windows are painted over to prevent prisoners from seeing outside. It is a labyrinth of cells, halls, each pathway sealed off from the outside world by walls, gates, and guards. The physical environment reinforces a sense of depressing isolation and detachment from the outside world. It helps create palatable distance from the ordinary complications and community norms. It is a place that builds anger while at the same time loneliness and desperation. The shoe blocks you off from the world and from the world within the prison. Some men spend years in the shoe in isolation. Even though long-term solitary confinement is decried by human rights groups worldwide, our federal government uses it on many occasions simply as punishment. Experiencing this living arrangement firsthand makes it impossible to fathom how any person can live like this for years. To me, it seems like a slow grind of torture. Each day, little by little, a piece of me is dying. I am suffering. Slowly being destroyed both mentally and emotionally. When I spend hours pacing back and forth in a 9-foot area. When I tire, Pike takes over and does the same. On our 27th day, another prisoner is put on our range, just 3 cells down. Another white prisoner named Martin. Every 30 days, Martin is moved to a different cell floor in the shoe. Martin stands in the middle of the cell and screams for hours upon hours. When his larynx tires, he lays on the floor on his back and kicks the door like a normal person would ride a bicycle. Sleep does not come easy. When Martin retires, we go to sleep as well. The whole range learns to get some sleep when Martin is resting. It is clear to me that he has mental health issues and needs to be in a mental health institution with medication, not locked in a solitary confinement cell in one of the most dangerous prisons in the United States. They left Martin here to rot, the good guys. Martin never showers. He continuously wipes feces on the wall and on himself. A guard nicknamed Cowboy enjoys harassing Martin. Sometimes he gives him the middle finger. Sometimes he calls Martin vulgar names. When Martin is sleeping, he will kick his door. One day, the Cowboy slipped up. He left Martin's door flap open after serving his meal. Martin had brewed an evil concoction. Urine mixed with feces in a VO5 shampoo bottle. Opportunity, how kind you can be when you open your arms to me. Martin aims his bottle at the Cowboy's back, and then Martin squeezes. His homemade super soaker sprays shit and piss onto Cowboy's back. Cowboy's instincts tells him to jump out of the way as soon as he feels the wetness pelt his back. Cowboy dances, a scalded cat. It's too late. Martin has struck. "Motherfucker," the Cowboy yells out. Other prisoners are yelling and laughing, but none like Martin. His laugh is an evil gurgle. "I got you, motherfucker," he screams it over and over. Back covered in body waste, the cowboy points his finger at Martin. You're hit, motherfucker. I'm going to kill you. Cowboy rolls the food cart off the range. 20 minutes later, the correctional emergency response team is on our range. This is not an emergency. There is no emergency. But the cops are arriving, battle ready. Helmets, body armor, a shield, and one objective. That objective is to beat Martin into submission under the guise of a cell extraction. One guard yells for Martin to cuff up. He gives the order 3 times. As expected, Martin refuses. Policy says after 3 refusals, the cops can open the door and physically extract the prisoner. After the 3rd command is met with non-compliance, the cell door is opened. Slow motion. 10 men charging forward, tackling Martin to the ground. The cell block echoes with screams, but these aren't the sounds a human makes. These are the sounds of a yelping dog. The cowboy arrives. He slides black gloves over his violent, thirsty hands. He has the shirt he was wearing earlier. He balls it up in his hands. Cowboy decides to kick Martin in the ribs. So he does. Some of the blows are delivered to Martin's back. The cowboy is not finished yet. He grinds his old shirt into Martin's face. How's that taste, bitch? The cowboy yells, quivering uncontrollably. Then the CERT team hog-ties Martin. They toss him from his cell with no more care than a TSA worker throwing luggage into a trunk. Martin lands face first on the hard floor. This makes a particular sound. I imagine not many human beings can recognize a human head rebounding off concrete just from the sound alone. There is less bass than you'd expect, and less crunching. A sharp, quick sound. It's just bouncing, this sound. I imagine it smells like wet mops. Martin is ripped off the floor by his handcuffs. His face is bleeding. The 2 guards bounce Martin off the wall. They make a pendulum of Martin, slamming his face side to side, while they take their time walking him down the range. At the crash gate, the cowboy football punts Martin in his ass. Martin screams out in pain. The guard takes Martin to a 4-point cell where they strip him ass naked. They lay him on a cold steel bed frame. He is restrained, each limb cuffed to the bed. For hours he's left this way, crying and screaming in agony. Martin's screams fall on deaf ears. What he did is the second worst thing a prisoner can do to a staff member. The worst thing you can do to a staff member is stab them. Shitting them down is a close second. It does not matter that the cowboy has spent months antagonizing a man with mental health issues. All that matters is Martin lashed out in the only way he could. The prison tolerates guards' violence. This violence is silently approved by the executive staff and the warden. In law, the correct term is acquiescence. There is ream after ream of federal court jurisprudence discussing public officials turning a blind eye to torture. Many guards hate us simply because we have committed crimes. There is a culture taught on both sides, a learned behavior. They hate prisoners. Prisoners hate cops. Very few people in this environment show any compassion. When Martin hit the cowboy with his squirt gun, the prisoners erupted in jubilation. When the guards finished punishing Martin, the guards laughed and high-fived. Together, we all create a dangerous environment for each other for no good reason. When we look at our prison system and compare it to those in Europe, the differences are stark. Switzerland focuses on rehabilitation. Here we focus on cruel and unusual punishment. No prison staff shows any type of compassion or a desire to help or rehabilitate a prisoner. That comes with a label. To other staff, that person is an inmate lover. In this environment, this is not a label that any staff wants. Such a label comes with being ostracized from their team, their group. Prison guards have a code of silence that they live by. Very few, if any, would report the beating of a prisoner or even his murder by staff. Anyone who did that would be cutting his or her Federal Bureau of Prisons career quite short. That person would find their advancement on the career ladder to be mysteriously blocked at every turn. When it comes to staff, what happens here stays here. Morals do not apply. Neither does human decency. Martin's beating and the feces rubbed in his face will go unreported. And in time will happen again. This is the world I live in. At least until March 2038. So many of us will spend the best years of our lives in cells. Decades will be wasted living lives of pain, desperation, fear, and hopelessness. The guards, too, have a miserable existence. They have to work in a hostile environment where tomorrow was never promised. I read that part of the book because we're going to talk about the special housing unit in Coleman, Florida. We're going to talk about Aryan Sharma. Aryan Sharma, a cop at USP Coleman. Her husband, a lieutenant. she was the type of cop that if she liked you, she would pass stuff for you. She'd pass a book, or she might pass a newspaper. But if she didn't like you and you had to take a shit and you didn't have any toilet paper, she wouldn't bring it to you. If you pissed her off that day, she'd get nasty. And sometimes I used to think that they paid these cops or taught these cops how to just be nasty to people. Like everybody's nasty. And I used to think, why, man? Why are all these people so damn nasty? She was one of them people that was nasty. And there was a dude in the hole. He's serving, Richard. He was serving a sentence for methamphetamine. And Richard was one of them dudes that he liked to write the cops up. If the cops did something wrong, he'd write your ass up. If you didn't give him his food, he'd write you up. If the food wasn't hot, he'd write you up. If you violated policy, he would write you up. He hated the cops. Kind of like what I said in the book. You know, the majority of the cops hate us and the majority of us hate cops. It's just how it goes. You know, who likes a person that locks them in a cell or oppresses them? Sometimes we don't, always stop and think that, hey, I made these decisions to come here. But that don't give the cops the authority to mistreat you, to treat you like shit. So Richard and Aaron, right? Aaron Sharma, they got a beef. They're having a little beef. She says that he grabbed her through the door, through the food slot. We got these food slots that open. And she got a little bit bruised. She goes to medical, complains she's hurt. They send her home for the day. She gets a free day's pay. Another prisoner assaulted her. She might have been on 2 or 3 days. Get to go home and get paid for free. And you see so much of that bullshit in there that you're just like, they pretend they fell and they pretend they got hurt or they were cell extracting you like the thing with Martin. We had to cell extract them. 2 cops got hurt. They get a week off with pay. They do that type of shit. So anyway, Aaron tells this kid Animal, right? John McCullough. She tells Animal, hey, check this out. I'm going to give you a pack of cigarettes. Break this dude's leg. After she had already told this kid, hey, look, you're hit. You're a dead man. She told him that. She said, you're a dead man after he grabbed her through the food slot. She tells Animal, I want you to, do something to this dude. She used to look out for Animal. He was a Aryan Brotherhood gang member or prospect for the Aryan Brotherhood. And she pretty much, gives him stuff that he needs to make hooch or looks out. She liked this kid for some reason. And she tells him, I got a job for you, but don't do it while I'm at work. Do it while I'm off. She said, I'm going to shoot you a pack of cigarettes. I'm going to look out for you. So Animal says, no problem. I got you. I'm going to smash this dude. She says, break his leg. But how can he break his leg if they're not in the same cell? Well, that can be arranged too. And you see that a lot. I've seen cops go get people and put them in cells with people they can't make it with. And they get fucked up. Sometimes they get killed. So they end up moving this cat in with Animal. Pack your stuff. You're moving. And the only person that authorizes that is the number one. Another cop, Mr. Kennedy. He goes to prison too for this. So they end up putting this dude in the cell with them, with Animal. What do you think Animal does? He said, I was going to break his leg, but you know what? I'm going to kill this dude. And he kills him. He beats this cat to death. Knocks on the door. Hey, man, get this dude out of here. They look in there. They know he's beat up. The cops knew what was going on. It was all planned. They wanted it to happen. I don't know if they wanted him to get killed. They probably wanted him to get killed. But they didn't want the consequences that came with it, I can assure you of that. Because Aaron Sharma is the only Federal Bureau of Prisons employee, the only Federal Bureau of Prisons cop that has ever been sentenced to life in federal prison. So anyway, dude's up there beating the shit out of this dude. He's screaming, he's yelling. He can't get away. And Animal has a propensity for violence. He's known to be a viciously violent individual. And his kid's locked in a cell with him. There's nowhere to go. It's only you and him. Let the best man win. Sometimes it goes like that. Think about that. What would you do if you're in the cell with Animal and the cops tell him to fuck you up and you can't get out? You're locked in a chamber. You're locked in this concrete bunker and there is no way out, my friend. You have to win to leave. If you win, you leave the cell. If you kill him, you get out of the cell. If he kills you, you're leaving the cell. You're just not leaving it the way that you want it. Instead, you're leaving in a body bag. And that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. They put him in a body bag. He's non-responsive. Throw him in a body bag. Take him to the morgue. It's all over with. And who do you think came to Aaron's trial? A bunch of the prisoners, of course. A lot of dudes are down there, checked in. They come to the trial. They testify on Aryan Sharma. Because, they're like, man, she's a cop. Any way that they can get revenge, they're going to get it. And they got it. She shows no emotion when she's convicted, shows little emotion when the judge slams that gavel and sentences her to life. What do you think that was like for her husband? He's a lieutenant. He's a big shot at the prison. And now his wife is convicted of, pretty much conspiring to kill another person. Murder. How would you feel? Would you want to go back to work? Would you feel embarrassed? Would you feel embarrassed that you got to go to work and everybody knows that your wife's now a prisoner, an inmate? She went from being a cop to being a prisoner. 33 years old at the time. These are the people that are in charge of these prisons. These are the people that are supposed to be making the best decisions for you. And, my time in prison, I used to think, man, some of these people are crazy as hell. I was at a prison where one of the COs, another female CO, she's just a nasty person, man. Went out of her way to be nasty to you. Get on the wall. Get to the other side. Stop talking. Get in the commissary. Won't let you out for hours. Locks you in the commissary. She ends up killing herself. I think it was on Christmas Eve in the prison parking lot. What happens if that was the lady roaming the facility, man, at an FCI, and she's got an AR-15 in the truck, and she decides to snap that day and start shooting all the prisoners? This shit's possible, right? I mean, who would have thought that Aryan Sharma would, be paying someone a pack of cigarettes to kill another prisoner because he grabbed her through the food slot by her arm? All this shit was part of her wanting a couple days off of work. She got it. Now she's probably an orderly at some prison somewhere. She got it. Now she's somewhere kissing the CO's ass, trying to be nice to him so she can get an extra tray. Or maybe she's in the shoe somewhere, and she wants someone to pass her a newspaper because she's tired of sitting in the hole looking at the walls. She just wants to pass her time. That's all some people want to do when they're sitting in the shoe, pass their time. Got a 90-day bid in the hole. Got a year bid in the hole. Sometimes the only thing you can do in that place is read. You're starving for reading material. And they won't even give it to you. Think about it, man. Think about it. It could be you. It could be you locked in that cell with Animal. It could be you making a bad decision and getting a life sentence. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. Definitely share the video. And I hope you like this one. With respect, until tomorrow, we're out.